The 32nd meeting of the Mayor and City Council will come to order. Please note, if you wish to be heard at this meeting, please sign the speaker list on the table to my right of the council chamber. I have the right to limit the amount of time each speaker has for an agenda item, and tonight each speaker will have 3 minutes to speak. Everybody will rise for the invocation by Reverend Warren Litchfield, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance. You need the Pledge of Allegiance, Fred.
Almighty God, we gather this evening hour to conduct the business of this city. We offer a prayer for our mayor, for the president, for the members of the city council, and for all in authority. Grant unto them a sense of justice, strength, and wisdom as they perform their duty in behalf of all our people. We commend this nation, our armed forces, our law enforcement, our fire and rescue, and thy people to thy merciful care and understanding. Remember those who lie upon a bed of affliction, and comfort those who mourn. In the name of the one who is Lord of life, we pray. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Move to agenda item number 4. Ms. Rowley, please call the roll.
Mr. Ricks?
Here.
Ms. Crary?
Here.
Ms. Nicholas? Here. Mr. Smalls?
Here.
President Laz?
Here. Move to agenda item number 5, second public hearing with possible action, an ordinance number 1911, text amendment number 246, an ordinance amending Laurel City Code, Chapter 20, Section 20-612, neo-traditional overlay areas, to permit a neo-traditional overlay area in the RT zone. I'll note that we have a court reporter here for this agenda item. I have read the title into the record for the second reading. I'll open the public hearing at 7:03. Christian, you have the floor.
Good evening. Text amendment application number 246, ordinance number 1911 was filed on March 28, 2017. The Mayor and City Council of Laurel to amend the City of Laurel Unified Land Development Code, Chapter 20, Section 20.612, neo-traditional overlay areas to permit a neo-traditional overlay area in the RT zone. On April 3, 2017, the proposed ordinance was sent to the Maryland Department of Planning for comment. No comment was received back. The file contains a certificate of publication verifying that this application and public hearing was advertised as required by law in the April 6, 2017 edition of the Prince George's Centennial. A memorandum from the City of Laurel Planning Commission to the Mayor and City Council dated April 12, 2017 reads as follows. At the regular meeting of the City of Laurel Planning Commission held on April 11, 2017, the following action was taken on the subject zoning application. On motion by Mr. Wilson, seconded by Mr. Kish, and carried on a roll call vote of all members present, the Planning Commission recommended that the Mayor and City Council approve text amendment application number 246 as presented in the proposed ordinance. That concludes the reading of the file, Mr. President.
Thank you, Christian. I have no one signed up to speak on this agenda item. Is there anyone wishing to speak? Seeing no one, I will close the public hearing at 7:05. What's the pleasure of the council?
Mr. President,
Mr. Ricks?
I move for the adoption of ordinance number 1911, text amendment number 246 as read into the record.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Ms. Crary. Any discussion? Call the roll, Ms. Rao.
Mr. Ricks?
Aye.
Ms. Crary?
Yes.
Ms. Nicholas?
Yes.
Mr. Smalls?
I vote yes.
President Laz?
Yes.
Mayor Mo?
I'll concur. Thank you
Mr.
all.
President,
Yes.
I just want to note that I've been asked by Councilmember Nicholas to be added as a sponsor.
It's fine.
That's actually not the one.
That's not the one?
No.
I'm sorry then. Sorry.
Move to agenda item number 6. Second public hearing with possible action on ordinance number 1912, text amendment number 247, an ordinance amending Laurel City Code, Chapter 20, Article 1, Division 1, Section 20-1.9, and Division 5, Section 20.7.8, Commercial Zones, and Section 20-9.5, Industrial Zones, to authorize brewery, pub, and brewery craft in certain zones and providing for an effective date. I've read the title into the record for the second reading. I will open the public hearing at 7:06. Christian?
Good evening again. Text amendment application number 247, ordinance number 1911 was filed on March 28, 2017. The mayor and city council of Laurel to amend the Laurel City Code, Chapter 20, Article 1, Division 1, Section 20-1.9, and Division 5, Section 20-7.8, Commercial Zones, and Section 20-9.5, Industrial Zones, to authorize brewery, pub, and brewery craft in certain zones and providing an effective date. On April 3, 2017, the proposed ordinance was sent to the Maryland Department of Planning for comment. No comments were received back. The file contains a certificate of publication verifying that this application and public hearing was advertised as required by law in the April 6, 2017 edition of the Prince George's Centennial. A memorandum from the City of Laurel Planning Commission to the Mayor and City Council dated April 12, 2017 reads as follows. At the regular meeting of the City of Laurel Planning Commission held on April 11, 2017, the following action was taken on the subject zoning application. A motion by Mr. Welford, seconded by Mr. Wilson, and carried on a roll call vote of all members present. The Planning Commission recommended that the Mayor and City Council approve text amendment application number 247 as presented in the proposed ordinance. That concludes the reading of the file, Mr. President.
Thank you, Christian. I have no one signed up to speak on this agenda item. Is there anyone wishing to speak? Seeing no one, I'll close the public hearing at 7:08. What's the pleasure of the council?
Mr. President,
Mr. Ricks?
move for the adoption of ordinance number 1912, text amendment number 247 is read into the record.
Thank you. I have a motion to have a second.
Second.
Thank you, Ms. Crary. Any discussion? Call the roll, Ms. Rao.
Mr. Ricks?
Aye.
Ms. Clary?
Yes.
Ms. Nicholas?
Yes.
Mr. Smalls?
I vote yes.
President Les?
Yes.
Mayor Mo?
Thank you. We'll move to agenda item number 7, approval of the minutes of the 30th first meeting of Monday, April 10th, 2017. Entertain a motion to approve.
So moved, Mr. President.
Thank you, Ms. Smalls. Do I have a second?
Second.
Any corrections? Thank you. Call the roll, Ms. Rao.
Mr. Smalls?
I vote yes.
Mr. Ricks?
Yes.
Ms. Crary?
Abstain.
Ms. Nicholas?
Yes.
President Les?
Yes. Thank you. Move to agenda item number 9, report of the mayor and city council, and I'll start with Mr. Ricks tonight.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'd like to let the citizens know that Ms. Crary and I continue to work on the railroad project. Although we have successfully gotten the MOU signed, there are still issues associated with the railroad station that we're working on, and that is parking and helping or trying to get the state to help us with some kind of a solution to some of the parking problems that we have down there. So we'll keep our citizens advised. Over the weekend, we went fishing with the police department. It was very successful. It was a lot of fun and enjoyed the camaraderie there. After that was over with, my council members and I went down to Public Works and we assisted them in palleting 57 pallets of electronics and God knows how many tons of newspaper and paper products. It was very successful and it was a lot of fun being with the staff and succeeding in this process, keeping Laurel green. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Ricks. Mr. Smalls.
Thank you, Mr. President. Over the weekend, as Councilman Ricks mentioned, I had the opportunity to attend the same events with my colleagues. I guess here in the city, the hottest ticket must have been the Laurel Society's gala, because I couldn't get a ticket. So I hope everyone who had an opportunity to attend really enjoyed it. I want to just take a minute to, as we all know, the legislative session closed a week or so ago in Annapolis, and I just wanted to run down a very brief list of some of the bills that passed that will have some positive impact, I hope, on the residents of Laurel. As the mayor has reported in the past, a bill was passed to forgive municipalities' debts that were incurred in error by the comptroller. There was success in retaining the promised funding for the regional medical center that will be built in Largo, which the governor had cut from the budget. And also the legislature promised to keep its commitment to Laurel Regional Hospital for its remaining programs. There was a great deal of work in Annapolis to protect our residents in health care, or residents' health care as it relates to the Affordable Care Act and the possible repealing of that by the Trump administration. Let's see, there was also legislative passed to oppose ending the Chesapeake Bay cleanup program and urged the governor to join that. The budget was passed that included funds for Meals on Wheels, boosted funds for schools in Prince George's and Anne Arundel County by $25.6 million. $27.4 million was awarded to protect open space and $34 million to provide local parks. Statewide, $7.1 million for rebuilding Route 1 in College Park and modernizing and expanding Route 175 in Odenton, $340 million for construction of the light rail Purple Line that will connect the Green Line and the University of Maryland. So those are just some of the items that passed that I think will have some direct benefit to those of us in the general Laurel region. That's my report, Mr. President.
Thank you, Mr. Smalls. Ms. Nicholas.
Thank you. In addition to what's already been mentioned, I'd like to remind everyone about the Arbor Day that's going to be this Thursday at 10 a.m. at the Ivory Hill Cemetery. And this week is Volunteer Week. It started on Sunday and it ends Friday. So I'd like to just salute all of our volunteers in the city and at the hospital and just say thank you for your service. Becker.
Thank you, Ms. Nicholas. Ms. Crary.
Thank you, Mr. President. On last Thursday, on the April the 20th, I attended with the mayor of the Patuxent Wildlife Center annual event. This year, they honored the Chandler Robbins, who was a local resident. He was 98 years old, almost 99, and he was a excellent scientist. In fact, he's honored at the site over there, and they dedicated this event to him, and his children actually attended the event, which was very special for them. It's something that's in the backyard. We always talk about these things that are so close, but we don't visit, and I encourage all of you to go and visit. This weekend, just the casting with the cops, and we actually had a very good time with the shredding and the electronic. And I'll note for the record, the cops didn't bring the donuts. It was the council that supplied the donuts that day. We also helped our on Saturday night, the gala, which I know there's people out here that attended that event, and it was a wonderful event this year. And one of the awards went to the city's own Marcus Colbert, and his family was there to receive, and that was very special. I want to remind everybody that this Saturday, Prescription Take Back Day, is a national event. It'll be held locally at the police department starting at 10 o'clock a.m. down on 5th Street. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Mr. Crary. Mayor held first City Hall in the Park on Cypress Street on the April 19th. It was a little chilly. Hopefully it'll warm up for the next one. But we did have some residents turn out, and I encourage residents when we have these city halls in the park, that they come, an opportunity to ask questions and get information. April 20th, I attended the Laurel Regional Hospital Foundation Board meeting. Interesting meeting. April 22nd, as you heard, we had cast with the cops at Goody Lake. I'll remind people that under the age of 15, children do not have to have a fishing license. Over 15, you must have a fishing license. And both the Patuxent River and the Big Lake at Laurel Lakes were stocked with trout. They'll be around until the weather gets pretty hot. Then they die off from the heat. But they did catch a couple of fish, so I know they're there. I was not fishing. The electronics and paper recycling at Public Works, I had occasion to talk to councilperson from Howard County today. They also offer the same kind of service, but their residents have to go to their dump. And it's very convenient for the residents of Laurel when we have this event. And the next event will be, I think, in October. Is that correct? October. To bring it down there, you don't even have to get out of the car. Staff takes it out of your car, or takes it out of your truck. So it's very, very convenient. You heard about the Laurel Historical Society Gala. It was not held at the racetrack this year. This year it was at the Hilton Hotel. About 170 people attended. It was a very nice event. Finally, I want to offer condolences to the Pryor family on the passing of Raymond Pryor, who passed away over the weekend. The Pryor family were lifelong residents of Prince George Street, and Mr. Pryor was the last manager at the Laurel Theater, and actually was an employee of the city when he passed away. So our condolences go out to the family. That concludes my report. Mayor Mo?
Thank you, Mr. President. A couple items, condolences to the family and friends of Gene Vandenbosch. Gene was a former Laurel High School teacher and well-respected in the community, and great loss on the passing of Gene Vandenbosch. Also to the family and friends of Helen Bates, the mother of Eugene Bates, a member of our retired Department of Public Works, and we send out condolences to Gene and his family as well. Did have the opportunity to attend the Laurel Fire Department 27th Annual Life Member Dinner at the Laurel Fire Department. I want to thank all those members. Halbert, thank you for your service, and thanks for all the continued service that each of them do day in and day out. With that said, let me acknowledge that the Beltsville Volunteer Fire Department had their banquet over the weekend, and I want to congratulate them on 70 years of service to the greater Laurel area. They run this area as well as their Beltsville, and today, as most of you know, they had a big fire in College Park, and 5-alarm fire, and want to wish all of them the best. I know Route 1's probably still a mess down there, so if you haven't seen or heard about that, there was a vacant building that was under construction right there on Route 1 near College Park, the university, and I guess still under investigation and all. So we want to wish them the very best. I know Laurel Fire Department, Laurel Rescue Squad both transferred, on the other side of the county to help staff those departments that were very busy today. You did hear that we had our first City Hall in the park at Cypress Street. I want to thank all those residents who came out, thank the council and the city staff for their support, and we look forward to the next City Hall in the park. You heard the wild on the night on the wild side at the Patuxent Range Refuge Center. I want to second time that I've been invited to attend that. I want to thank Councilmember Query as well for attending, and had a very good evening. It's it's right in our backyard. If you've never been there, take the opportunity to go to the Patuxent Wild Refuge and see what's happening there right in your own backyard. Rob, thank you for Public Works for their electronic recycling and paper. Sorry I didn't get there. I heard it was, council told me, well attended by residents and a big event. So we look forward to the next one. Thank you. Did have the opportunity on Saturday to attend Congressman Anthony Brown's town hall meeting at the Laurel Stanley Memorial Library. I want to thank our police department for attending that as well, and all the residents that came out. As most know, there has been some incidents at some of the town hall meetings with Congress members. Ours was very well attended, all quiet, and no issues. So again, thank you to our police department for being there as well. That same day, as you heard, casting with the cops. And I want to thank our police officers. I guess we had about 15 officers working that day or volunteering that day and helping kids and families come together and really have a good time. Did have a couple questions, just so everyone knows. The city does not stock that lake. Department of Natural Resources is the one that stocks the lake, and there were several that had some good-sized fish on there. So I think it was well attended. I thought it was a good event, and we look forward to the next one as well. The Laurel Historical Society, let me first, Eileen Collins is in the back. Congratulate Eileen, who is the Volunteer of the Year for the Historical Society. Did I get that right? Do you want to stand up and be seen and make a speech or anything? We want to thank you. Congratulations. Also, I do want to thank, as you heard Ms. Curry bring up, I want to thank the Historical Society for their work and their support in honoring Marcus and the family that was there. So I was very appreciative. We have some things here that in the next couple of weeks we ought to be announcing regarding Marcus and the things we'll do here to remember Marcus and keep his family in our thoughts. On Thursday, as you heard, the City of Laurel will have their Arbor Day celebration, which is at Ivy Hill. I want to invite everybody to attend. It's at 10 a.m. You're more than welcome to participate. It's a pretty quick event, about 30, 45 minutes max, and plant a tree. And we want to thank Ivy Hill Board of Trustees for allowing us to come on to their property, plant, and be part of our program. So thank them as well. On May the 4th, the city offices will be closing early at 1 p.m. We'll have our city employees' annual employee awards luncheon that day. So on May the 4th at 1 p.m., City Hall will be closing. You heard also May the 6th is Lake Fest, Granville Goody Park from 11 a.m. until 3 p.m. Again, another well-attended event by the community, but more importantly, well-planned and by our Department of Park and Rec. So I want to acknowledge Joanne and thank her staff for, again, putting on great events, but Lake Fest in particular is always a good one. So hope the weather holds out and goes good for all. May the 13th is the Main Street Festival. The parade will begin at 9 a.m. I encourage everyone to look the day before for the signs that say no parking, towing zone. We have to enforce those. A lot of people come on the street and in the community. So again, look for those signs going up. And the Main Street Festival, again, parade will begin at 9 a.m. And the event will go until 4 p.m. I have a presentation, but I think you want to do the confirmation on some appointments first, and then I'll go down.
Yeah,
Let me, before I do the presentation,
Tim, do I have confirmation? Okay.
do have a couple of appointments to make, reappointments. For John Kish for the Planning Commission, 4/24/17 to 4/24/21. John Robinson, Environmental Affairs Committee, 4/17 to 4/19. Barbara Robinson, Environmental Affairs Committee, 4/24/17 to 4/24/19. And Cynthia Woods, Environmental Affairs Committee with the same dates, and I'd ask for your confirmation. These are all reappointments.
All right, Mayor, these individuals are well known to the council. These are volunteers that give their time to the city. What's the pleasure of the council?
Mr. President, I recommend the approval of these appointments by the mayor.
Thank you, Ms. Crary. Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Ms. Smalls. Call the roll, Mr. Rowe.
Ms. Crary?
Yes.
Mr. Smalls?
I vote yes.
Mr. Ricks?
Yes.
Ms. Nicholas?
Yes.
President Les?
Yes. You going to make a presentation now?
Rory, are you coming up? I'm going to ask Gloria Arnold, who is our vice chair of the Youth Commission, to do what you got to do, and then I can pass this out.
Great. The
No, I know
Youth
he's
Commission, I want to represent Monique Holland, who's the chair, who couldn't be here this evening, Eileen, and the rest of the group. We're very pleased that we're getting great applications, and we're very pleased that we're able to give this money out to serve the youth of the community.
Ali, you want to say anything now? Quiet today.
She's not in the meeting.
I'm telling you. So we have a check that we want to present you on behalf of the commission and the mayor and city council to side by side. Joe, why don't you come on up and we'll pass this check out and we'll let you do it. Oh, yep. Yep, whoever you got here can come on up. We'll do a little picture and then we'll let you say a few words as well. So Joe Murchison, we're going to present, everybody stand right there. We're going to get all this at once. You good? Here's your $5,000 check. Just don't try to cash it. I think I forgot to sign it. Good? Joe, why don't you come up and then...
I want to thank the city. This is a wonderful thing for us. We have a program of holding workshops at 5 local elementary schools for parents on how they can help their kids. And it's been going on for 5 years, made a lot of difference, and this is a wonderful help. And I want to especially thank Karine, who told me about this grant program, which was a great help to us. Thank you.
Thank you so much. On behalf of all the parents and the students of 5 schools that we are helping in the community, which is Bond Mill, Scotchtown Hill, Deerfield, James Harrison, and Laurel Elementary. Thank you.
Your way.
I don't...
Our website is sidebyside.laurel.org. And thanks to Gloria and Eileen and all the others who give their time with the Youth Commission.
Thank you. So let me acknowledge as well the commission members, Youth Commission as well. I want to thank you for your hard work. And they put a lot of effort in. There's a lot of different requirements for this funding that we have for individuals in the community. So I know you do a lot of work, and come on up.
Thank you. I just wanted to let everyone know that we also, I got to do it there. I'm not, it doesn't carry, huh?
I'll be yelling at you.
I'm sorry. I also wanted to let you know that we gave another grant this year this time to Greater Laurel United Soccer Club for $5,000. So if anyone has a youth group, please apply. It's very easy. It's on the website, and we love giving Mayor Mo's money and the city's money away.
I just need you to know it's budget time. It's not my money. I can't spend it till the council appropriates it. So, but I do want to acknowledge council as well, because they had the foresight to put this group together. The funding, it's worked out very well over the years, and want to acknowledge them and thank them for all their support. Thank you again.
Okay, we'll go ahead and we'll move to agenda item number 9, general public hearing, and I'll open the general public hearing at 7:31. The first person I have signed up to speak is Zosh Farbud. Come state your name and address for the record, and you have the floor.
You need, I turned that off.
Oh, I'm sorry. Push the button until it goes green. There it goes. You're good.
Hello, my name is Zinosh Farbad. I'm a resident of 502 Talbot Avenue, which is also 198 westbound. I am here to speak about my property and the volume of accidents that happen on my property. I have a state-issued guardrail that has been there well before I moved in 2009. And on average, there are about 3 car accidents that make my guardrail into a zigzag. And the guardrail is completely removed and a new one is put in place at least once a year, the last of which was this past Friday. The last accident that I had on my property was last Easter Sunday, where I was doing yard work in the front yard, and then within a matter of hours, a car came and crashed into my guardrail, and I have photos of that. And I've tried to memorialize as many of these as possible. Recognizing that it is a state highway, I think one of the challenges is an unclear jurisdiction in that the local police will come to my home and take down a report of the accident, but then they will deflect to the state because it's the state highway and they have to manage that road. So despite having a survey done, which Mayor Mo kindly initiated last year, there doesn't seem to be any action that the state is willing to take to ensure my safety. I don't do anything in my front yard anymore, simply because if there's the least bit of precipitation, a car will inevitably pummel into my guardrail. And so I just wanted to raise these concerns on the city's record. If I could just, my final point is that also whenever there's an accident, the debris is not removed from my property. So I have broken glass, I have car parts, my neighbor collects all the hubcaps that we've collected over the years, and they've lined up his garage wall. So this is a safety concern for me, so I just wanted to raise that with you.
Mayor, do you want to say something?
Thank you for coming out. We will, I'm going to ask Rob, I know as soon as we got it changed, I guess it was a week later, somebody ruined it again. The city was very instrumental in getting that guardrail there years ago. We are very familiar with that area, that turn. They also did some treatment of the road, I think, years ago. We'll again ask them. I'm going to ask our Department of Public Works to reach out to the district engineer. Rob, we'll get something set up, make sure I'm there at that. We'll go on site, see what we can do. We have done some things to slow people down, as you're well aware. We do radar on 5th Street and Talbot there, and then up further. I'm going to ask the deputy if he would again take a look at that on some speeding. It's a bad turn there, but we'll see what we can do, and we'll contact the state and meet them on site there and see if there's some things. It's got to be there's some cheaper things to do instead of replacing the guardrail all the time. But we'll take a look at that as well. We'll keep the council involved as well.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Next person I've signed up to speak is Marqueza Ball. Come forward and state your name and address for the record, sir.
Marquez Ball, address is 3412 London Leaf Lane. I am not a resident of the city of Laurel. I'm standing as a pastor of Uplift Church. Many of my members are residents of the city of Laurel, so I really wanted to come and introduce myself to the council. I've known several of you. I've worked with Councilwoman Nicholas as well, so I really wanted to let you all know that Uplift Church, as well as the members, are interested in volunteering and serving the city of Laurel as much as we can.
Introduce yourself. We know you. You're here enough. We thought you were staff for a while.
Thank you.
So we thank you for what you're doing in your congregation. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. I have no one else signed up to speak at the general public hearing. Is there anyone else wishing to speak? Seeing no one, I'll close the general public hearing at 7:36. Move to agenda item number 10. Second public hearing with possible action on ordinance number 1909, an ordinance to amend the operating budget of the mayor and city council of Laurel, Maryland for the fiscal year July 1, 2016 through June 30, 2017. I've read the title into the record for the second reading. I'll note that we discussed this at the work session. I'll open the public hearing at 7:36. Is there anyone wishing to speak on this agenda item, as I have no one signed up to speak? Seeing no one, I will close the public hearing at 7:36 and a half. Michelle's shaking her head no, so I don't think she has anything to add. Okay, thank you, Michelle. What's the pleasure of the council?
Mr. President, I move for approval of ordinance number 1907 as read into the record.
Thank you, Mr. Smalls. Do I have a second? Second. Thank you, Ms. Nicholas. Any discussion? Call the roll, Ms. Rao.
Mr. President, I believe it's 1909.
I'm sorry, it is 1909. My mistake.
Yep.
Okay. I'm sorry, who was the second?
Ms. Nicholas.
Okay. Mr. Smalls?
I vote yes.
Ms. Nicholas? Yes. Mr. Ricks?
Yes.
Ms. Crary?
Yes.
President Les?
Yes.
Mayor Mel?
Thank you. Move to agenda item number 11. Second public hearing with possible action on resolution number 4-17, a resolution to amend resolution 12-14 regarding the City of Laurel Youth Services Commission to provide changes in the membership and the meeting criteria. I've read the title into the record for the second reading. I'll open the public hearing at 7:38. I have no one signed up to speak on this agenda item. Is there anyone wishing to speak? Seeing no one, I'll close the public hearing at 7:38 and a half. What's the pleasure of the council?
Mr. President,
Mr. Ricks?
move for the adoption of resolution number 4-17 is read into the record.
You have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Ms. Nicholas. Any discussion? Call the roll, Ms. Rao.
Mr. Ricks?
Aye.
Ms. Nicholas?
Yes.
Ms. Crary?
Yes.
Mr. Smalls?
I vote yes.
President Les?
Yes.
Mayor Mel?
Move to agenda item number 12, second public hearing with possible action on ordinance number 1908, an ordinance to establish a City of Laurel Arts Council to provide for its membership and responsibilities and to establish an arts fund. I've read the title into the record for the second reading. I'll open the public hearing at 7:39 and have one person sign up to speak, Mr. Drago. Come forward, state your name and address for the record, and you have the floor.
Listen, John, it's only 2 minutes, but I shared.
I gave you 3 minutes, John.
That's right. I'm going to give
I
you a
shared it
break.
with them all.
John Drago, I live at the old folks' home on Main Street there, Selborne House. I'm going to save you all the agony of telling you how I support this. If you all are already going to pass this, then I'll just go and sit back down. Otherwise, I'll do my best to convince you. Anybody need convincing?
Not me.
Then I'll give you a break and I'll go sit down.
Why don't you let them know about the green belt? You work.
Yeah.
Oh, well, I was trying to be nice and not criticize another city's less quality. I guess you all got my profile thing that I gave you. I think I forgot to put my name on it, but somebody probably did. So you already know that I've been an artist since I was a teenager. And in the process of that, I wound up on the Arts Advisory Board for the City of Greenbelt. So and I've been there for just shy of 8 years. And so I kind of know how this thing works, but without going into particulars, this legislation is head and shoulders above what they have, and I'm putting in a request to find out the people or the sources where you all found this legislation, as opposed to some other, if somebody thought this up themselves. But I consider it, compared to the other things I had to compare, and I do have comparisons because of my experience, this is a truly enlightened piece of legislation for the arts. The fact that you all want to create a fund with what doesn't seem to be a lot of strings on it, unless somebody says they want to go to Las Vegas with the money. You know, I don't see that. My experience has been that the arts people have the government has a stranglehold on them, and arts people need to be set free, because they're kind of like that to begin with. So this is the best I've ever seen. So I think you better go with it, and I'll be back to show you how to go.
All right, John. Thank you. I'll note that you volunteered for membership on the Arts Council once we've established it. Is that correct?
Yeah.
That's your last comment on this letter.
Yeah.
Okay, just making sure.
Yeah, no, it's, I'm supposed to go to the Greenbelt meeting there on the 2nd of May. And if I wind up here, then they're going to have to do without me.
Okay. All right, John, thanks.
Never turned down a better offer.
Thanks a lot, John. We have no one else signed up to speak on this agenda item. Is there anyone else wishing to speak? Seeing no one, I'll close the public hearing at 7:42. What's the pleasure of the council?
Mr. President, move for the adoption of ordinance number 1908 is read into the record.
Thank you, Mr. Ricks. Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Smalls. Discussion. Call the roll, Ms. Rao.
Mr. Ricks?
Aye.
Mr. Smalls?
I am very pleased to vote yes.
Ms. Crary?
Yes.
Ms. Nicholas?
Yes, and I'd like for, I guess we speak for all of us, to be added as co-sponsors.
Sure, you can do that.
President Les?
Yes.
Mayor Mao?
I just want to make a comment. I want to thank the council for all their input on how we got here as well. John, I want to thank you for your comments, and my chief of staff, Luann Crook, who helped track some of this down. And we kind of cut and pasted from a lot of different places and tried to come up with the best. Hopefully we did, and it's really going to be all about the members and participation. So thank you, and I'll concur, Mr. President. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. Move to agenda item number 13, second public hearing with possible action on resolution number 8-17. A resolution approving a declaration of covenants, easement, and right of entry with Prince George's County for storm and surface water facility and maintenance, and authorizing the mayor to sign the declaration. Read the title into the record for the second reading. I'll open the public hearing at 7:44. I have no one signed up to speak on this agenda item. Is there anyone wishing to speak? Seeing no one, I'll close the public hearing at 7:44 and a half. What's the pleasure of the council?
Mr. President,
Ms. Crary.
I recommend that we approve resolution number 8-17 as read into the record.
Thank you, Ms. Crary. Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Ricks. Discussion. Call the roll, Ms. Rao.
Ms. Crary?
Yes.
Mr. Ricks?
Yes.
Ms. Nicholas?
Yes.
Mr. Smalls?
I vote yes.
President Les?
Yes.
Mayor Mao?
Thank you. Move to agenda item number 14. Second public hearing with possible action on ordinance number 1910. An ordinance of the mayor and city council of the city of Laurel, Maryland, to amend city code chapter 20, article 4, floodplain management, to create the position of floodplain manager and to assign certain duties and responsibilities to the manager. I've read the title into the record for the second reading. I'll open the public hearing at 7:45. Have no one signed up to speak on this agenda item. Is there anyone wishing to speak? Seeing no one, I will close the public hearing at 7:45 and a half. What's the pleasure of the council?
Mr. President,
Ms. Crary?
I recommend that we approve ordinance number 1910 as
Thank-
read into the record.
Thank you. Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Ricks. Discussion. Call the roll, Ms. Rowe.
Ms. Crary?
Yes.
Mr. Ricks?
Yes.
Ms. Nicholas?
Yes.
Mr. Smalls?
I vote yes.
President Les?
Yes.
Mayor Mel?
I just want to note that this hasn't been updated since the late 70s. And I want to thank Steve Allen, Marty Fleming, and Bill Goddard in particular. And I guess, Karen, did you help out with this a little bit? But again, it's not fun reading, but it's needed. And I want to thank them for putting this before the council and getting us approved. Thank you all. I'll concur.
Thank you, Mayor. Move to agenda item number 15, second public hearing with possible action on ordinance number 1905, an ordinance to amend City Code, Chapter 18, Buildings and Building Regulations 18-22, Development Incentives to continue the program. Read the title into the record for the second reading. I'll open the public hearing at 7:47. I have no one signed up to speak on this agenda item. Is there anyone wishing to speak? Seeing no one, I'll close the public hearing at 7:47 and a half. What's the pleasure of the council?
Mr. President,
Mr. Ricks.
move for adoption of ordinance number 1905 as read into the record.
Thank you. Do I have a second?
I'd like to make a second and like to be added as a co-sponsor along with my other colleagues on the council.
Surely. I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Call the roll, Ms. Rao.
Mr. Ricks?
Aye.
Ms. Crary?
Yes.
I'm sorry, excuse me, Ms. Nicholas?
Yes.
Ms. Crary?
Yes.
Mr. Smalls?
I vote yes.
President Les?
Yes.
Mayor Mel?
Concur.
And now we get to Mr. Gibbs' agenda item. I waited till the end tonight, Mr. Gibbs.
Billable hours.
Billable hours.
I'll move to agenda item number 16. Second public hearing with possible action on ordinance number 1907, an ordinance of the mayor and city council of Laurel approving the West Side Boulevard Road Transfer Agreement and authorizing the mayor to sign the agreement and all documents necessary to acquire the right-of-way. I've read the title into the record for the second reading. I'll open the public hearing at 7:48. I have no one signed up to speak on this agenda item. Is there anyone wishing to speak? Seeing no one, I'll close the public hearing at 7:48.
Can I just say?
Yeah, go ahead.
Karen, on the attachment, I'm sorry, I didn't notice this. I'm looking at the West Side Boulevard Road Transfer Agreement. Is there a reference on which one we should be looking at? 'Cause I still got some in the blue. I just want to make sure. Hey, can you come to the mic for a minute? I'm sorry.
Public hearing's still open.
I'm looking at some changes. I want to make sure we've got the right attachment.
Do you have the final, Karen?
She may not change it.
The final one I had, everything had been accepted, so there. The changes that are reflected,
the changes that are reflected on the document that I just reviewed that the mayor has are the final comments. We thought that they had all been accepted before the document had been transmitted to you. But that is how it should read. Those were merely clarifications in the original document. There aren't really any substantive changes to it.
All right.
I do. Mr. President, Mr. Mayor, members of the council.
Just state your name and address for the record.
Yes, Edward Gibbs, an attorney with offices in Largo, Maryland, representing Strip Matter Land LLC, the property owner. This agreement was actually prepared by the State Highway Administration, not by us. And I know that the city had some changes, city attorney had some changes, and so as far as we're concerned, we had no objection to any of the changes, and I thought State Highway had signed off on these changes. So
They may have. Ed, Mike just told the president, I'm sorry, I didn't pick up on this, and I wanted to make sure we got the right copy before we go through this process. So I apologize for not picking up on it.
That's quite all right. Thank you very much. My understanding is that they were accepted, but I was told they were accepted by State Highway.
Excellent.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Gibbs. I have no one else signed up to speak on this agenda item. I'm going to close the public hearing at 7:51. What's the pleasure of the council?
Mr. President, I move for approval of ordinance number 1907.
Thank you.
As read into the record.
Thank you, Mr. Smalls. Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Ricks. Any
Mayor,
discussion?
do you want any language just to protect yourself?
No, I'm okay. I just want to make sure I had the right attachment. That's all. I didn't pick up on it. I'm good.
Okay.
Sharon and Ed are both agreeable.
Any further discussion? Call the roll, Ms. Rao.
Mr. Smalls?
I vote yes.
Mr. Ricks?
Yes.
Ms. Crary?
Yes.
Ms. Nicholas?
Yes.
President Les?
Yes.
Mayor Mel?
Thank you, Mr. President, for the clarification.
That concludes the agenda.